everyone. How are you doing this wonderful Thursday evening? We're still playing around with technology. I've now rotated my phone, so we'll see if I get better replay when I upload these to YouTube and everywhere else we're putting them. So I appreciate your patience as this experiment continues. I'm Dr. Jordan Leisure. I'm the owner and physician of North Shore Proactive Health, a state-of-the-art wellness clinic in the northern Chicago suburbs. And tonight, in our stress management boot camp, hello everybody hopping on. Hello Jeffrey. Hello Christy, repeat viewer. We're talking proper body positioning and alignment while at your desk. So obviously with the stay at home, everybody is working from home, studying from home, and if this is new to you, and even if it's not, your office may not be configured appropriately. So we are blessed at home to have extra space. We have a dedicated office. You've seen both sides of it now, the white walls, the blue wall. Hopefully we'll get some time to put some artwork up here, make it a little prettier. So we have a dedicated desk, we have appropriate chair height, and those are a few things that you want to think about in laying out your space. If you are working currently at a kitchen table, please don't tell me that you're working in your bed or you're working on your couch or anything like that, because those positions for extended periods are going to cause some real serious complaints. So if that's the case, keep my number handy for when you decide to venture out. We are still open, by the way. Chiropractors are considered necessary medical personnel. So if you are in Chicagoland, give me a call. If you're not, give me a call anyway, and I'll refer you to somebody that you should be seeing. But let's hop on this subject, and if you have a pad or paper nearby, you might want to take some notes on what you should be doing. I've outlined notes so that I don't miss anything from head to toe as far as how you should be seated and what you should be looking for if you start to experience pain from any of these setups. So if possible, your monitor should be close enough to avoid leaning forward or straining. So we talked a few videos ago about what happens when you're like this. So my ideal recommendation, if you have the funds and if you have the opportunity, is to purchase an additional monitor. So both my husband and I work from home. We each have a laptop that we use, and then we have a larger LG monitor that we can hook into. We have a separate mouse. We have a separate keyboard. So we are able to look at the screen head on instead of using a laptop and having to look down. And also, worst case, if you're spending time in between computer work, working on your phone, that's going to cause some additional problems. We're going to wrap up the video doing some cervical stretches that I recommend to patients, so stay tuned for those. My second recommendation is that the top line of type on your screen should be 15 degrees below your eye level. Does that make sense? So this is where, if you see the angle of my chin here, this is where I'm looking. And I don't have to wear glasses. This is going to change if you're wearing bifocals, if you're wearing anything like that. So pay attention, make sure that the screen is in line for your visual acuity so that you're not having to strain the neck. Use audio equipment that keeps you from bending your neck, again, if possible. I have Bluetooth headset. I have a plug-in headset that I use for my computer. So if you're able to do that, I do a lot of conferences. We do Zoom meetings. I see patients over Zoom. We actually teach physical therapy over Zoom. And today I was doing a wellness fair for attorneys. So we do a lot of digital work, and of course, making sure that everyone can hear you, that your screen is clear is top priority if you find yourself in that situation. As far as physically, you want to make sure that you relax your shoulders, you bend your elbows at 90 degrees, and you position your mouse and keyboard so that you don't need to move your arm or bend your wrist to access either of them. And for us, again, our mouse is wireless, our keyboard is wireless. so I can move all of this wherever I need to be depending on my ergonomics. And if you are working for hours on end, you should be taking frequent breaks, at least every 30 minutes, get up, stretch, move. And you should also be changing your setup. So if you're able to change your position, work from a different side of the desk, maybe change your view, it will cognitively help your performance. So integrate whatever you can there. Now, as we move down the body, you want to keep your hips and your knees at 90 degrees. Now, I've seen women do this much more frequently than men, but if you find yourself, hello, Jessica, if you find yourself sitting like halfway Indian style, where you're sitting on a leg, if that makes sense, one leg underneath you and the other leg draped over, I have a lot of female patients that do that even while they're sitting having a consult with me. That is one of the worst things you can do while you're seated, especially for a prolonged period. So please make sure you're sitting with your cheeks on the chair, hips straight ahead, and feet flat on the floor. Now, depending on, again, finances and what your setup was before all this, and if you modified anything with the anticipation of having to work from home a little bit longer, you want to make sure that that chair is an appropriate height for you. And if there is a considerable difference between yourself and your spouse and your chair is not modifiable, yes, you may have to purchase 2 chairs. Or you may have to move a kitchen chair or dining room chair up to your office to accommodate your different sized people. One thing that I love, of course, being a chiropractor, is using a lumbar roll for low back support. And this, again, depending on your size and the support that's in your current chair, it may be as simple as a towel. You may purchase a specific roll. We sell ones in the office. I think they're like $25. And we use them on all of our chairs in our reception area, and patients love them. You can use it in your car when you're driving more. And of course, use it in your office at home. Or use it at your office when you go back to work. They are portable. And they have a strap, so depending on the size of the chair, you can strap them to the chair. But I like to see those because they do. We're all going to get fatigued. If we're sitting too long, you want to make sure that that posture is supported. And then finally, like I mentioned before, you want to make sure that you're keeping your feet flat on the floor while you're working. And if you need to change up sitting position, that means that you need to take a break and you need to move, you need to stretch. So I promised everybody stretches. A few videos ago when we talked about body positioning, we did the YWTLs. So chime in here, give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you've been doing your YWTLs. I likened it to, we call it spinal hygiene. So you should be doing it similar to brushing your teeth twice a day. You should be engaging in these spinal hygiene exercises twice a day as well. Sitting is to your spine as sugar is to your teeth, and you can get dentures if you have to, but you're not going to be replacing your spine anytime soon. So you want to do what you can to maintain that and have proper, not only body movement, but neural conductivity. You want your brain to be able to talk to all your organs and systems, and you want all your organs and systems to be able to send feedback back to the brain. So in doing your YWTLs, and we'll review these real quick, it's just like YMCA. So unfortunately, I can't get too far behind me here, but if you're doing, again, Y, arms should be up, and active hands, pretend you're a cheerleader. So Y, take those scapula and stick them into your back pockets, draw them back down into your back, shoulders should be relaxed, that's our Y. As we come out to a W, you want the elbow in line with the shoulder, so YW, and then T, so arms are out straight, same thing. Keep it at the shoulder, shoulder should be relaxed, and those fingers are still active. So you're still pointing out to either side, YWT, and then L, all I'm doing is bringing my arms down to my side, YWTL. Makes sense? Stands for youthful, wise, thoughtful, and loving. So you want to do those twice a day. You can go through them relatively quickly, YWTL. And my scapula, again, on my back are nice and tight. If you picture how it would feel if you were doing a row, that's what should be going on in your scapula in the back. So do those. It's a fantastic exercise. Teach it to everybody in the house. When you get back to work, Teach it to everybody at work. The next one I want to teach everybody is called a cervical retraction. And this is very common. We teach this to a lot of patients. And essentially, if you think back to the 80s and you remember the walk like the Egyptian video, that's the positioning that you should be doing with this. So what you're doing, same thing. Shoulders are nice and relaxed, and literally you're taking your chin and you're trying to make that double chin position. So you're just squishing it down. You're not looking up, you're not looking down. It's literally if I took my hand and I just squished you, what would happen? That's what we want. So you're engaging those deep those deep neck flexors. I want you to do one set of 10 repetitions of that 3 times a day. So make that your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can do it seated at your desk. You can do it in bed, but same thing. Make sure you're squishing your face flat against the pillow. If you have a little physio ball at home, you could give yourself a little bit of resistance and do it against the ball. There's lots of modifications of this exercise, but it's nice to do. Every time you do that, you can hold it for like 3 to 5 seconds. And you'll really feel that where the head attaches to the neck in that occipital region. So give that a try, see how that feels. You'll be strengthening the neck and improving your biomechanics. When we look at someone from the side, the opening for their ear should line up with their shoulder. But unfortunately, again, a lot of us are like this, if you could see that, or like that, unfortunately. So we want to get that positioning back in line where it should be. The next one I want to teach you is called a levator stretch. So your levator scaps, we want to rotate to one side, and we want to look down into our armpit, or you can pretend you have a pocket in your shirt. And then I want you to reach up, grab your head, and give yourself a little bit of a pull. And the next thing you can do, if you like that stretch, you can also, as you're pulling, press back against yourself. Give yourself a little bit of resistance. How does that feel? Make sure you're breathing. And then you should feel that, not in the back of the neck, not in the front of the neck, not deliberately in the side, a little bit toward the back. I know that one hurts so good. That is a really good one. And make sure that you're doing all of this stuff bilateral. You're doing both sides. And if you want to really take it up a notch, you can take that other hand and reach down and grab for the bottom of your chair. So I'm looking into my armpit, I'm pulling down with this hand, and my opposite arm is grabbing the bottom of my chair. So I'm getting a little bit of a greater pull. I'm pulling the shoulder down, I'm pulling this way. It's fantastic. So try that. You can hold those for 20 seconds on each side. You can do those a few times a day as well, especially if you're doing all this computer work. Hello, Dave. Hello, fellow DC. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to chime in if you have a favorite exercise that you're giving your patients right now. You can be doing these whether you are consistently working at a desk, if you are out and about, luckily, if you're still working at an office, if you're one of our first responders, whomever you are. These are some of the best exercises you can be doing for neck mobility. Hello, Janet. And then finally, the last one I wanted to give you, this is fantastic. So we'll see how much of this you can see. But if you're seated, perfect, stay seated. I want you to scoot your butt up to the front of the chair. I want your shoulders nice and relaxed. I want you to take your pelvis, if you think of this, if this is my pelvis, I'm sort of tilting under a little bit. So I'm not losing my posture. I'm not slouching. I'm sitting up nice and tall, but I'm tilting that pelvis underneath me a little bit. So I'm just doing this. Okay. My shoulders are nice and relaxed. My hands are down by my sides. My palms are facing out. My palms are facing away from me. And I'm going to lead with my thumbs. I'm going to bring those up nice and slow. That's a good one. While I'm doing this, those scapula again, if you remember your YWTLs, those scapula are down in my back pockets. So everything is sunk down. I'm coming up. I'm still breathing, so make sure you're breathing. How does that feel for everybody? You want to do that like 3 to 4 times would be your set. So keep going. That's an awesome one. Good, I hope you're practicing. And I expect videos of everybody doing this posted. I want to see some more participation. So put on selfie mode or tag your children doing these exercises. So inactivity, so secondarily to bad sitting biomechanics, inactivity is one of the biggest dangers that we have with all of this working from home. And again, if your kids are studying from home, same goes for them. You know, just because they're younger and they're resilient doesn't mean that they're not causing some damage by these activities. What is Chrissy saying? Yes, my neck in between my shoulder blades have been burning. I really need, yes, you need an adjustment. What kind of desk chair would you recommend for long-term use? Yes, I know you're working at home all the time. So I don't have a brand, I'm not brand specific. What you want to look for, and again, part of the problem is all of us are built so differently. And I know a lot of people are ordering from home or ordering online, especially now. And really, I have never bought a chair for my office without sitting in it first. And I've gone to Office Max, I've gone to higher end professional furniture stores, and literally you have to get in it. And you have to not only you know, try it out and be like, oh, that's nice for 1 second. But you need to sit in it for a little while and see how it feels and see if it's supported. I like my chairs and my bed to be very, very firm. And, you know, if some individuals will find that uncomfortable, and if that's the case, then maybe you need to be taking a few more breaks. But if things are too soft and they're not providing the support that you need, especially in the lumbar area, then you're going to have some of these issues a lot sooner than you would otherwise. And yes, Jan has a gamer chair. Jan has a giant chair in her office. It's like a throw. It should have, it should be like bedazzled. Maybe I'll do that. So to sum up every night, or sum up tonight, every night, you want to make sure you're staying active. Take a 20-second break every 20 minutes, and that should be very easy. 20 seconds will go by very quickly. What does David say? Oh, physio ball chair, that's a good call. Or a stool for working at home. Yeah, not the best looking for the executive desk. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And if you decide to take that advice and start sitting on a physio ball chair, or actually the gentleman that was hosting the webinar that I was a guest on today had a elevated desk. He had a standing desk, which is awesome. So if you decide to do that at home, if you decide to do a physio ball chair, if you decide to do a physio ball, if you decide to start standing, please make sure you make those modifications gradually. Because if you go from sitting for 8 hours a day to suddenly you think you're gonna stand for 8 hours a day, that can be just as draining. And again, you have to completely change your computer setup and your monitor setup if that's what you're gonna be doing. So little by little is the way to go. Make sure you're incorporating those breaks and do micro activities. So it could be standing, it could be doing some squats, it could be your YWTLs, doing brisk walking, moving your head in a plus sign. So doing your flexion extension, doing lateral bending is always nice, rotation, see what's going on. Dave, no judging my cervical range of motion there. Doing the stretching that I just taught you, you may find beneficial. I've had some clients, and I've recommended actually that they, if you have the room, keep a yoga mat in the room where your office is, where your desk is, so that if you are going to take that break, you don't need to go very far. So take that 20-second break, you know, sit down, do a couple push-ups, do a couple squats. Maybe you just need to lay down and stretch. You know, it's amazing. We're going to do a video coming up. We did some neck work tonight. We're going to do a video coming up on quads. and hip flexors, because all of this sitting that we're doing, if you think of your hip flexors like rubber bands and they're meant to be this long, and then you spend like, where am I getting all my likes from? Oh, the standing desk, yeah, digging the physio ball chair idea. So if your hip flexor is supposed to be this long and you're sitting for all these hours, picture where your knee is when you're standing and then where your knee goes when you're sitting for all these hours. I will tell you that I got off the bike this morning and I stretched my quads. I thought I was going to die. It is extremely painful. My quads are extremely tight. I, just like everybody else, I'm doing way too much sitting. So we are going to do a video coming up on some lower body stretches because all of us are perpetually tight in that area. So Christy, you could say Amazon, standing desk for cheapest there, yeah. Now the problem with ordering some of these things is shipping time. So if there's questions on ergonomics, if you are not sure what you should be doing, you know, feel free to take a picture have someone, if possible, take a picture of you with your setup and post it, and I'll let you know maybe what I would suggest as a quick modification. If you're having pain from a lot of this stuff, remember we're doing a lot of virtual physical therapy, which is amazing. So if you need some specific recommendations of the exercise I gave you, if you want something a little bit more specific to you and your limitations, send me a message and we can do a one-to-one virtual visit. What is super cool right now is that insurance benefits are paying for virtual visits, and for some, the coverage is fantastic. So your out-of-pocket may be minimal or none. So make sure that you are keeping yourself healthy. What is there a prize for best picture? Yes, there will be a prize for best office ergonomic setup. I don't know what it is. Maybe it'll be a shaker cup. Your SI joint, because you sit on your you-know-what all day. Exactly, and it's not necessarily just sitting all day that is impacting your SI joints. And for those of you that don't know, your pelvis, if you can feel your back, or if you've ever seen someone and they have those little dimples just above their butt and their back, those are your SI joints that she's referring to. So they're not necessarily a problem just because you're sitting, but they're a problem because of your alignment, and the joints and muscles are going to play a role in that. So that's some of the reason that getting chiropractic adjustments on an ongoing basis, not just when you are hurting, is helpful, because then everything is aligned the way that it should be, and you're compensating for some of these bad ergonomics that we do on a daily basis. You know, our bodies, if you think of yourself, again, I use this analogy all the time, if you think of yourself as an African on the plain and you were designed to be hunting and gathering and dancing and moving, you were not designed to be sitting at a desk or sitting in your car or sitting on the couch for 12 to 16 hours a day. It just was not meant to happen. These joints are meant to move. Betsy, you've never been adjusted. You should get adjusted. Everybody should be adjusted. Hashtag chiropractic. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you found this beneficial. Don't forget your exercises. So we're doing our levator stretch. We're looking down into our armpit. We're bringing our arm up. If you want to make it a little more spicy, you take the opposite arm, bring it down, give yourself some resistance. We're doing our chin retractions. We are doing our YWTLs. And then we're wrapping it up with our good posture. We're slowly bringing our arms up. Those scapulas are down in our back. That one's my favorite. So make sure you're doing all of those. If you have questions, hit me up. Share these videos with your friends that are working from home. Everybody. They're also available on YouTube if your friends are not on Facebook. So I hope that you have a wonderful evening. Love you all. Speaking of which, we're talking about self-love tomorrow night, Friday. So tune in. It's going to be amazing. Love you. Have a great night. Bye-bye.